Good day, gentle brothers, sisters. I welcome you to my lesson today. Our topic for today is photosynthesis. The learning subject is natural sciences for grade 6. My name is Tsepo Matlocha. Now, in our introduction, I want us to look at the work done in our previous grades. In our previous grades, we learned that there are living organisms and non-living organisms. We also gained understanding that all living organisms require energy for growth and development. Energy is transferred from one living organism to another through the form of food webs and food chains. Now, the big question, how do plants make their own food? Just like people, plants need food to grow and for energy. But unlike people, plants make their own food, called glucose sugar. The process is then called photosynthesis. During photosynthesis, the plant uses sunlight energy, carbon dioxide from the air, and water to make glucose sugar. Plants change some of the glucose sugar into starch, which they then store in their leaves, stems, and roots, flowers, fruits, and seeds. Photosynthesis happens in the green parts of the plant, mainly in leaves. Plants need three things to make food. They need water, sunlight, and carbon dioxide. Now, let's look at the steps that a plant undergoes during photosynthesis. Firstly, water is absorbed through the roots of the plant. Carbon dioxide is absorbed by the green parts of the plant. The absorbed water, sunlight, and carbon dioxide changes into oxygen that the plant then gives off. Now, could you please look at the diagram represented on the right-hand side? Let's study and look at the diagram below to gain more understanding of how plants gather their own food through the process of photosynthesis. In the diagram, we can see that there's a representation absorbed in the roots. Here are your roots. Secondly, we have an illustration of carbon dioxide, also the green part of the plant. Drawing is a bit off. And then thirdly, we also have energy from the sun, which is also being absorbed by the plant for growth and development. And as a result, the plant gives off, we have oxygen that is being given off plant as a result of the process of photosynthesis. We get oxygen. So while the plant absorbs carbon dioxide, it in turn gives out oxygen for us humans to be able to use for breathing. And then another product the plant gives out, it's glucose. Remember now, they said glucose can come in the starch, which we found in our vegetables, we find in our fruits. An example of a starch food, we can give a potato. A potato is an example of a starch food. We all know that a potato is able to produce food that has calories. So it's an example of glucose formed from a plant. Now going back to our lesson, let's focus on the bullets. Plants are the only living things that make their own food. Energy from the sun, water from the soil, and carbon dioxide from the air is needed for photosynthesis. Photosynthesis makes food in the form of a special type of sugar called glucose sugar. The process of photosynthesis also absorbs carbon dioxide and releases oxygen. Let's continue on to the next slide. As we continue with plants and food, further facts. Plant leaves are like food factories that need raw products such as water, carbon dioxide, sunlight, energy to make food. The raw products are transported to the leaves, while the produced food is transported to different parts of the plant. The leaves are the factory part of the plant. For example, roots, stems, leaves, fruit, and flowers, it's where the glucose sugar is stored. Humans and animals eat these parts of the plant to obtain their energy. Now, shifting our focus not far from what we've been looking at, I want us to look at the interaction of plants and the atmosphere, or should I say plants and air. Plants play a very important role in keeping the amount of carbon dioxide and oxygen in the Earth's atmosphere constant. During photosynthesis, plants use carbon dioxide from the air and release oxygen into the air. All living organisms like humans and animals use this oxygen that the plants release because they use the oxygen that the plants release to breathe in, and then they exhale the carbon dioxide. Humans cannot produce oxygen without oxygen. Okay. Now I want us to shift our whole and focus not so far, but on the relationship of plants and the atmosphere, plants and air. Plants play a very important role in keeping the amount of carbon dioxide in the oxygen and oxygen in the atmosphere constant. During photosynthesis, plants use carbon dioxide from the air and they release oxygen into the air. All living organisms like humans and animals use this oxygen that the plant releases. We breathe in oxygen from the air around us. We breathe out carbon dioxide into the air. Humans cannot produce oxygen, and without oxygen, humans cannot survive. Carbon dioxide is a poisonous gas that in large quantities can kill human beings. Thus, plants absorb this carbon dioxide in exchange for the process of photosynthesis. Now, summary of our lesson for today. Plants make glucose sugar mainly in their leaves through a process called photosynthesis. Plants use sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water to make their food. Plants change glucose to starch and store it in different parts of the plant. Plants use up carbon dioxide and give off oxygen during photosynthesis. Animals and humans breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. Now, to test your knowledge, in the diagram below, please use the diagram below to answer the following questions. In the 3 blocks on your left-hand side, fill in the 3 things that photosynthesis needs to make food for the plant. A. In the 2 blocks on the right, fill in 2 things that result from the process of photosynthesis. B. Questions continued. This activity will focus on the processes of photosynthesis. Instructions. Use the words provided in the column to fill in the correct word to complete the sentence in order to gain a clear and meaningful understanding about photosynthesis. Questions continued. What is photosynthesis? And where does photosynthesis in the plant mainly take place? C. Name 3 things that plants need from the environment for photosynthesis to take place. D. Give reasons why animals need plants. E. Plants store their food as what? If you are